To the video, okay, sure. Assalamu alaikum, this is Salehin Qadir. Welcome you to news at 5 p.m. on BTV. Very good afternoon. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has termed the inauguration of 100 bridges at a time as a historic event, saying it would help quicken the country's overall development. The Prime Minister virtually opened the 100 bridges in 25 districts at a cost of over 879 crore taka from Ganabhavan in Dhaka this morning. The Premier also said the bridges would help the law enforcement agencies take prompt measures to ensure public security and maintain law and order. It will be easier to help people in any disaster, she said, adding that the transportation and marketing of the goods would be quicker and easier. Sheikh Hasina said her government is developing road communication in such a way that the country could be connected to the Trans-Asian Highway. She said many people can say many things, but the people of the country are now getting the benefit of the development done by her government.
শুধু দেশের অভ্যন্তরে না, আমরা এশিয়ান হাইওয়ে, এশিয়ান রেলওয়ের সাথেও যেন আমরা যুক্ত হতে পারি, কারণ ট্রান্স এশিয়ান হাইওয়ের সঙ্গে যুক্ত হয়ে আন্তর্জাতিকভাবেও আমাদের যোগাযোগ যাতে এগিয়ে যেতে পারে সেদিকে আমরা বিশেষ দৃষ্টি দিয়ে বিভিন্ন রাস্তা আমরা সড়ক এবং রেল ব্রিজ আমরা করে দিচ্ছি। এই সেতু নির্মাণের ফলে আমাদের অর্থনৈতিক উন্নয়ন যেমন হবে, আইন শৃঙ্খলা রক্ষাকারী সংস্থা তাদের পক্ষেও খুব সহজ হবে প্রত্যেকটা এলাকায় দ্রুত যাওয়া এবং আইন শৃঙ্খলা রক্ষা করা, মানুষের নিরাপত্তা নিশ্চিত করা, অথবা কোনো দুর্ঘটনা দুর্বিপাক দেখা দিলে মানুষের সাহায্য করা, সেই দিকেও বিরাট একটা সুবিধা সবাই পেয়ে যাবে। সতর্ক হতে হবে, সাশ্রয়ী হতে হবে এবং মিতব্যয়ী হতে হবে, নিজেদের সঞ্চয় বাড়াতে হবে, যেন বিশ্বব্যাপী যে অর্থনৈতিক মন্দা দেখা দিচ্ছে তার ধাক্কা যেন বাংলাদেশে খুব বেশি ক্ষতি করতে না পারে। এগিয়ে নিয়ে যাওয়ার দায়িত্ব সকলের কাজে, সকলের সম্মিলিতভাবে এই প্রচেষ্টাই চালাবেন যে বাংলাদেশের উন্নয়ন অগ্রযাত্রা যেন অব্যাহত থাকে, বিশ্ব দরবারে আমরা যেন সম্মানের সাথে মাথা উঁচু করে চিরদিন চলতে পারি।
Road Transport and Bridges Minister Ubaidul Qadir spoke on the occasion. Prime Minister's Principal Secretary Dr. Ahmed Kaikous moderated the function, while Road Transport and Highways Division Secretary ABM Aminullah Noori gave a brief description of the bridges. Later, the Prime Minister exchanged views with the beneficiaries through video conference from Ganabhavan. Agriculture Minister Dr. Abdul Razak said BNP was not a political party before 1975. He said BNP was formed with the anti-liberation force, Rajakars, after the assassination of Bangabandhu. He made the remarks while briefing journalists at Tangal Stadium this morning. In response to terrorist activities in Sylhet last night, the Agriculture Minister said the law enforcement agencies will bring under book whoever is involved with the incident. Central and Tangal District Awami League leaders were present at the time. Acrylic polymer is a new solution for durable and long-lasting roads with minimization of construction cost. In the meantime, many countries in the world are using this modern technology. A group of researchers in Bangladesh have come forward to use acrylic polymer for roads in the country to turn them durable and long-lasting. The Awami League government has been working relentlessly for more than 12 years to establish a sustainable communication network across the country. However, roads constructed in traditional methods get damaged during the rainy season. Researchers of Bangladesh find that acrylic polymer could be a good solution in this case. Many countries, including the United States, Canada, Australia, Malaysia, are using this technology to ensure longevity of roads. Experts say Bangladesh's soil and sand are very much friendly to acrylic polymer. They said this technology can be used in constructing roads, embankment, growth centers, and carpeting of roads in rural areas, minimizing the time and cost. Acrylic polymer protects roads and structures from water. According to official data, as many as 220,000 kilometers of roads have to be carpeted in Bangladesh. Researchers say by using acrylic polymer method, some 7,000 to 10,000 kilometers of road could be carpeted every year, creating job scopes for unskilled workers. Experts said roads constructed with acrylic polymer technology will last at least 50 years. There will be no uncarpeted roads in Bangladesh around 2040 if the proper initiatives are taken, they added. Today is November 7th. The pro-liberation forces of the country are observing the day as Freedom Fighters Soldier Killing Day in a befitting manner. On this day, late military dictator Ziaur Rahman occupied the state power, although he was the mastermind of the killing of Bangabandhu and his family members. On this day in 1975, many freedom fighters, including Khalid Mosharraf, were killed in the name of Sipahi Biplop. Colonel Tahir helped Ziaur Rahman to grab the state power on this day. Eyewitnesses and relatives of the deceased families said there was no Sipahi Biplop on 7th November. It was in fact a killing of the freedom fighters and soldiers. Home Minister Asaduzzahman Khan has said Ziaur Rahman killed valiant freedom fighters as part of a plan to eliminate the spirit of the liberation war. He said this at a gathering at the central Shahid Minar today, demanding post-mortem trial of Ziaur Rahman and removal of his grave from the Jatiya Sanshad Bhavan area. Dr. Khandakar Bazlul Haq presided over the program. Members of Parliament Asaduzzahman Noor and Nahid Izahar Khan, Awami League Deputy Publicity and Publications Secretary Aminul Islam Amin, former Justice A.H.M. Shamsuddin Chaudhry Manik, valiant freedom fighter Major General retired Helal Murshid Khan, and Dhaka Metropolitan South Awami League General Secretary Humayun Kabir, among others, spoke. They said Ziaur Rahman killed valiant freedom fighters by establishing ties with anti-liberation evil forces, but the trials of these brutal killings are yet to be ensured. They have demanded formation of an impartial inquiry commission to try Ziaur Rahman posthumously. We now begin with international news. President Joe Biden and ex-President Donald Trump held dueling rallies as election to reshape Congress entered its final campaign day. Mr. Biden and Mr. Trump made the last-minute pleas to voters in New York and Florida respectively. Momentum has shifted recently towards Republicans who are trying to wrestle both chambers from Democratic control. They're favorites to win control of the House of Representatives, but the Senate is a toss-up, polling suggests. Winning one chamber would severely hinder President Biden's legislative agenda. With the campaign in its final day today, his party is braced for losses, even in parts of the country where Democrats usually do well. Polls suggest that the Democrats are likely to lose a majority in the House of Representatives. The Ukrainian capital of Kyiv is preparing for worst-case scenario in the event of further Russian attacks on Ukrainian infrastructure, which could potentially leave the city without electricity or water. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has warned of more potential Russian attacks on his country's energy infrastructure. Ukrainian officials have urged residents in the capital Kyiv to consider making plans to leave as ongoing strikes threaten the power supply. Russian forces have pounded Ukraine's critical infrastructure in recent weeks, severely damaging its electrical grid and forcing many towns and cities across the country to impose scheduled hours-long blackouts. The 27th conference of the parties, COP27, on climate change, which began in Egypt yesterday, will seek to live up to its strapline Together for Implementation, for an advance prior commitments to limit global warming. Reports say developing countries experiencing the worst effects of climate change will aim to obtain financial help from rich nations responsible for the biggest share of emissions. This year's two-week summit will also aim to strengthen and implement the pledges made at last year's summit in Scotland, with the goal of keeping global temperature rise below 1.5 degrees Celsius, 2.57 Fahrenheit, to stave off the most devastating effects of a warming planet. The overarching objective is to have global greenhouse emissions by 2030 and reach net zero by 2050 to keep warming below 1.5 degrees Celsius, as recommended by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC. More than 100 leaders are expected to take part in the World Leaders Summit on November 7th, 8th and inject political momentum into the talks. That's all from the newsroom for the moment. Thank you for staying with us. We request you to follow the health guidelines. Please wear a mask and stay safe from corona. Until then, Khuda Hafiz.